Hi everyone, I'm Lewis. I work with our performance partnerships team here at NMPI, and welcome to the third part in a series of conversations we're having to better understand where performance marketing is, where it's going, and what businesses can do about it. This week we continue to explore shopping, so I'm joined by our Head of Product Development, Fred Maud. Hi Fred.
Hello Lewis.
So the last time we spoke, we looked at where we think Google Shopping is going. And we touched on feed management as a key to that. So I think it makes sense that we continue upon that line of inquiry. So first of all, and just so we're clear, what is feed management?
Well, I guess I can explain what I find that most people think feed management is, and I'm sure you've heard me moan about this on more than one occasion, Lewis. But most people think feed management is just product data and just Google for Google Shopping. Which drives me up the wall. It's not just product data, it can be any data that you're putting into a data feed. A data feed is effectively, I know it's a bit more complicated than this, but effectively it's an Excel file with lots of rows of data in it that you can use for many different functions. But one of the big functions obviously that we use it for is to support an automation of campaigns. So I mean, the sort of things that we class as data feeds and that we have large data tables on for any of our clients is performance data. It might be at a search term level, might be at an individual product level. That is data that we then use to power certain tools. I mean, our seamless search tool, which automates bidding across mainly brand generic terms, looking across organic and paid at the same time. That is all a product feed. Not a product feed, a search term feed. Now on the Google side, on the Google Shopping side, we're mainly looking at product data, but again the same thing applies. Performance data at an individual product level fed back in to any of your feeds or any of the channels that are using your feed can go a long way to helping to automate those channels. So better performing products, you alert your publishers in the affiliate network that they're performing better, and they'll push more of them, and then you'll sell more.
Yeah.
So that's worth bearing in mind. There's also price comparison data which we monitor across the internet. You've got Google have their own price comparison, price benchmarking data. We connect to that API and we actually pull that all in to monitor how price competitive people are. That's important. But then if you look outside of things with products, you look at flight data. We have many projects going on at the moment looking at flight data directly. So where stock is an issue with product feeds, you're looking at how many seats are left to sell in a plane for flight data. And again, that kind of automation is so valuable through a feed for flight campaigns, but has nothing to do with Google Shopping. And then even further than that, like weather data, connect to an API, pull that weather data into. For us, we use BigQuery. Again, you've got a product feed. You've just got a feed.
Okay, I mean, it's really interesting to know that, from a feed management perspective, it's not just about products. There's other things to consider. So I suppose with that in mind, what constitutes good feed practice?
Yeah, I mean, the way that we look at it as an agency is we focus on something that we call the feed pyramid. And the idea is, I mean, immediately you know what a pyramid looks like, so you can imagine how it works. There's layers to it, and at the bottom you have the foundations. And the idea being that you need to sort out your foundations before you start doing some of the cool, exciting things. So what are the foundations? Data quality, first of all, and data accuracy. Like, is the data represented in your product feed reflective of what's on your website? Is it all up to date? Does it all match? And if it doesn't, then you need to go back to the drawing board and work out why. Quite often it's to do with the syncing issue. If you're only updating your feeds once a day, but your site's live, then of course there's going to be discrepancies. So you should be looking at ensuring that there's a live API integration into your data feed as well. Once you're happy with data quality, data accuracy, you need to also be focusing on your reporting and alerting. If something does go wrong, you need to be alerting people so it can be fixed. And also just a bit further than that is just testing different things out, again, within the foundation. So is it worth me advertising this product directly through Google Shopping, or do I actually just still attain the same number of sales when I'm not advertising it, and so on and so forth. So it's actually testing which products you should be pushing in which channels and how much of a difference it actually makes. So I advise doing that. Further to that, once you're happy you've got good foundations, then you want to start looking at some more cool, exciting things. Well, not even cool and exciting. It's to start off with is just make sure your business data is in there as well. Like any of your own personal business data that can be useful, your margins, for sure. Like obviously, I've spoken to seat capacity. Really important to have that in there for flights. For hotels, like the booking capacity in the hotels, super important. Any data that your business holds that you don't usually put in your feed, get it in your feed. It will really, really help on the automation side of things going forward. And then lastly, if there's any other external data out there which you're not using, that could be a big help. So price comparison data is one massive thing, and that's across flights, across hotels, like across products. Like how competitive are you in the market? If you're really competitive, do you want to be pushing those products, or do you in fact not want to be pushing them because people are going to find a lot of it out anyway because you're so competitive? If you're not competitive, do you by the way, these are all just hypothetical questions. You might it might be completely different strategies, but we only have 5 minutes. If you aren't price competitive, do you need to change the price of your products? Do you need to go back to the buying team and say, hey, this cashmere jumper really isn't selling because the rest of the market are 20% lower. Can we test dropping the price by 10% and seeing if we can sell some of these items? So real interlink between your marketing and your buying teams needs to exist.
So clearly these are the ideal situations that businesses want to be in. I think we both know that a lot of businesses aren't doing these things. And I suppose, can you explain and maybe build upon some of the common pitfalls you see businesses make with regards to feeds?
Yeah, so I mean, the first pitfall, and I think it's born out of how simple Google have made it to upload a product feed, but it's people not investing in feed management, so not getting professionals in to do the feed management, or people whose day-to-day jobs is to focus on feed management. The reason people don't do it is because if I want to go spend 10% of my media spend on an agency to run my account, I can see that if they're worth that 10% or not by how the performance is on the platform, and I can have that all matched up. With feed management, it's not always directly that obvious. You don't see the direct relation. So if I have to pay $5,000 for a feed management company, that's going to scare people off because that's $5,000 with no revenue attributed next to it. But feed management companies can get better at that and actually start reporting back on that. But still, there's a direct investment, I would say, because people are looking at ROI directly in certain campaigns. They don't put enough money into their feed management solutions. So I'd like to see that change. People focus on, I named a bunch of cool stuff before. So like some of the third-party integrations you can be looking to do and some of the business data you can be looking to pull in. Don't do it unless you've got those foundations that I spoke about first in place. So the big mistake that people make is focusing on them before they have the foundations. And finally, like not thinking about individual channel goals. Is the case quite often that people don't send the right data to the right channels. So do the affiliates need to be seeing the same data that I have in Google Shopping? Do my titles need to be the same in Facebook as they are in Google? Do I need to send all my products to every single channel? Or are there certain channels that are going to do better on certain products than others? And those are kind of questions, again, I don't want to say yes or no, because there is no one size fits all, but they're the kind of questions you need to be asking yourself to optimize your feed properly.
Yeah, and just to be clear, you mentioned hypothetically that feed management could cost $5,000. I suppose just to clear that up, how does the costing work generally with feed management?
So I mean, ultimately, the data processing of feeds is charged at a SKU basis. So every item in the feed obviously costs money for the feed management companies, because that is costing them on their servers, wherever their cloud servers may be. I believe that the feed management directly should be focused on either, there's two ways that we look at it, either on performance basis. So if you can improve performance X, Y, and Z, then you should be paid this. And the other way is to focus it on the work that's being achieved and the hours that are being worked. So obviously, if you have 100,000 products, you need to factor in that that's going to cost X. But then beyond that, how many hours of work are you going to be working on it between now and the end of the month, and then price it up like that.
Cool. Well, thanks very much, Fred, and thanks for joining me again in this three-part series looking at all things shopping and feeds. So thanks very much, everyone.